on? My name is Ashton Anthony. If you hear my voice, that means you are now tuned in to the Get Back podcast. This is episode 4. This week, I have 2 very special guests on this week's episode, Wes and K2. Wes is the president of the Student Advisory Council for the JOMC department here at North Carolina A&T. K2 is the word editor for the A&T Register, that is the student newspaper here at A&T. He is also working in the esports on campus, as well as a recent intern for ESPN. So I would like to welcome onto the podcast this week the host of the Straight Up Talk Show, Weston K2.
What's good?
What's good, man? It's good to be here. I'm excited.
You know, they usually hear our voices, but, you know, it's good to see some face this time.
Yeah, they can see us this time. That's good. Excited, man.
So, yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming on. And, of course, you guys had me on the show earlier on this week, and I want to appreciate y'all for that.
For sure.
And I said this on y'all's show. I'm going to say it on mine. I appreciate y'all because y'all were one of the big inspirations for me starting my podcast. So, big shout out for that. Also, I want to give a special shout out for my handy crew helping me each and every week, Antonio and Brantley. They help me behind the scenes, so shout out to them. And let's get right into it. So, gentlemen, how was your week? Your Aggie Fest, we didn't do an episode since like right before Aggie Fest. So, how would you really rate Aggie Fest for y'all?
Ooh, should I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, I've been telling people this. Like, Aggie Fest for me, it was really like a 6 out of 10. It was an okay experience. Mm-hmm. And I think what made it go downhill was that Tuesday night at Gate City. The crowd was
that blew me,
overly packed, and you know, Gate City is what we call Twat Tuesday, I guess, in a sense.
Twat Tuesday.
Twat Tuesday, yeah.
Call it,
I never heard
Tuesday.
That before.
It's something that we came up with in the group. But we call it that, and we go pretty much every Tuesday in a sense. Sometimes we might try to take some breaks, but we knew that it was Aggie Fest, so of course a lot of people was going to be there, but it was just so many people, and it kind of went downhill from there. So.
Yeah, my Aggie Fest, like you said, I actually had forgot. Like when we had mentioned it on the podcast last week, I forgot that, you know, we was trying to go to Twat Tuesday, and it was so packed. We was literally standing outside, like we was going into Ghost Bar or the Blind Tiger. It felt like, you know, freshman year all over again. Yeah. But my Aggie Fest was like a 7 out of 10. And really, it could have been higher just because of, like, the different location changes, you know, at some of the Darties. And then, like, it felt like it was too packed for that space. Like, I wish the space was more open. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the times I was just saying, like, oh, excuse me, or let me get through, or, like, brushing up against somebody. So I really enjoyed the vibes of the Darties. But I just wish the space was bigger so we can just enjoy, you know, more space. But, you know, overall the week been good. It's Alpha Week. Shout out to us, you know what I'm saying? We got a game later today. I'm trying to coach, you know. Shout out to my team, B2A, you know, so feeling good.
Yeah, so I guess I would say, like, we kind of met over NABJ, I believe, over the summer, and we, like, kind of been cool since then. You guys are graduating this semester in the spring, so how are y'all preparing for life after graduation?
I'd say for me, life after graduation, I'm not prepared. Well, I'm prepared, but I'm not prepared because, you know, it's like the daily stuff. When you're graduated, that's like you don't prepare for. But like more of the stuff like, oh, where I'm gonna be, where I'm gonna be located, what job I want to do. I'm really just waiting to hear back for some things with the sports industry. Usually this time around, and then what's the next month? March? No, next month is May. Next month is May. So like that's when you kind of usually hear more of the opportunities for sports. But the daily stuff that, you know, adults go through, we gonna see how prepared I am when it comes.
Yeah. And I'd say for me, like, as far as how I'm preparing, I think for me, one thing that I've really been focusing on is my finances and like managing those like good in a sense. And I kind of reflect back on my recent years, junior, sophomore, and freshman year here at A&T, and, you know, my spending and how crazy I would go. And up until now, my senior year, I'm a little bit better as far as managing and limiting how much, you know, I'm spending on something, or saying no to going out to certain events because I don't want to pay for a ticket and stuff like that, you know. So that as well. And also just kind of preparing myself for like the grown up conversations that are gonna have to come in these workplaces. And Wes gave me a book as well. He let me have it, but I've been trying to read more. One guy, his name's Anthony. He was watching my story on Instagram one time, and he was like, "You say a lot of likes and ums," and I'm aware that I do.
My
And
mom
like,
says that
I
to me.
I just said it again. I just said like, and I tried to limit how much I say it because I know I'm saying it too much. And even on the Straight Up Talk show, I hear myself say it a lot, and I'm like, bro, I have to stop doing it. And
Yeah.
so, my friend Anthony, he slid up on my story. He was like, "You say it a lot." He was like, "I got something for you," and he sent me this YouTube video, and it basically kind of outlined that your surface lexicon, which is the first words that come to your mind when you're speaking or talking, it's not broadened enough. You know, it's filled with a whole bunch of filler words based off of the type of music you listen to, what type of content you're taking into your face or into your ears, and what type of books you're reading. So in order to broaden that, you have to go deeper within to it's called your I think just lexicon in general. You have surface lexicon and then just lexicon in general, which is a whole broadened area of just a whole bunch of words that you have in your head and your vocabulary. So I've been working on that as well, as far as being able to not say like, and I just peeped that I didn't say it for like a minute just now.
Yeah.
So that's growth, you know? So
Yeah.
I've been trying to work on that as well. And then, yeah, like what said, with opportunities, preparing post grad for something full time, and probably won't hear back until May for that as well. I sent out a few follow-up emails for some full-time jobs I applied to. Haven't heard back yet. So, yeah.
Definitely hoping you guys accomplish whatever you're, hoping to accomplish.
Sure, likewise.
After that. I'll be graduating in December, so I'll be here like one more semester, but we're going to get right into it. But before we do, just in case like anybody is wondering why K2 is dressed like all spiffy today, you had an interview with the Chancellor of North Carolina A&T. How did that go?
Man. The Chancellor is such a really cool dude. I met him the first time during ASL, and I was like, "Yo, Chancellor Martin was good," and he said, "How are you?" And I was like, "Good." He was like, "You want to get a selfie?" I was like, "Oh,
wow."
A selfie." And I literally have a selfie with the Chancellor in my phone, and like, he's a really cool dude. But the interview went amazing. Kind of asked him about, we asked about the preeminence plan for 2030, which is the plan right now that's going towards that, because we just ended preeminence 2023. So right now we in preeminence, the blueprint right now. So asked him some questions about that. Touched on some of the issues that, students like to talk about, as far as like parking, housing as well. And I also wanted to get to know him on a personable scale, as far as how was his experience as an Aggie back then, and how was it compared to the experience now. And from what I heard and listened to him say, he pretty much said that the students would walk downtown. They it was, I guess, some spots that they could go to, but he said he stayed inside the residence halls. And he also mentioned that I believe that he got married around his junior year with his wife, who was his junior year in college.
Married is interesting.
Which was his high school sweetheart. So that, and I think his wife is an alum here as well. So that's pretty much an Aggie love story in a sense for Chancellor Martin. So yeah, but overall, really good interview. Loved every aspect of it.
Yeah, that's what's up. So let's get right into it. Kind of staying on the topic of like Aggie issues. For people that are watching this, I know I have some people that are from upstate or up north in the country, and I think I have somebody from like out west. I don't know if he is watching this right now, but if you don't know, obviously we go to North Carolina A&T, you see it on the bookshelf and everything. Recording this in the TV studio here in the Crosby building at North Carolina A&T. Crosby kid.
Yeah.
But also, before we get into that, sorry. I know the past couple of weeks I haven't really been putting the timestamps for the segments. I'll take full, accountability for that. I just be lazy in the editing, but I'll make sure to put the timestamps in the description, as well as like the social media links for West and K2 and the Straight Up Talk Show. But get into the on-campus issues. So We talked about Aggie Fest, and if you didn't know, there was an incident about 2 weeks ago at one of the Darties. If you don't know what Darty means, it stands for day party. And an incident where somebody was driving a vehicle and just decided to just hit some students
For no
or
reason.
some civilians. And very tragic. I know somebody personally, one of my friends that got hit. Hope he's well. I won't share like his information or anything like that. But you brought me on the podcast, your guys' talk show earlier in the week, and I kind of wanted to steal your topic because it is such a great topic, and we only had like a limited amount of time to talk about it. But the topic was, is our generation desensitized to trauma? And I'll let you guys talk about what really made you come up with this topic and the point of conversation and stuff like that.
Well, I know I kind of like came up with it, and I was just scrolling on like Twitter, and Twitter really doesn't have like a filter on it. So I was scrolling, and I just seen this very graphic video just pop up on my timeline. And usually that's something you should be like, oh my gosh, let me keep scrolling. What is that? But I mean, I sat there and watched it, and I was just like, oh, that's nasty. And I just kept going about my day. But it's just like, wait, that video was I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was somebody maybe getting shot or stabbed or something. But it was very graphic. But then it's just like, it didn't really affect me because it's just like, it feels like something I've seen on the internet already. And then that just ties back into like, what we seen at the Darties. People got hit, people were limping, people got hospitalized, with serious injuries. Then next thing you know, the next day, we're right back at it doing the same thing, And it's just like, it's just like really like, is our generation like really like, are we cooked? Are we cooked as a generation to like senseless trauma and just violence? Because even like when we were like middle school, elementary school, going into high school, we see on the news school shootings. And then it's a cycle. We see it, prayers, whatever. Couple months pass, a year or two pass, then the same thing happens again. But then I feel like, I don't know about y'all, but none of that really like affects me anymore. Like I don't be getting sad and stuff anymore. It's just more of like a, dang, I hope they get better. I'm glad it didn't happen to me. Now let me go on about my day.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think I think that we are desensitized in a sense because just like you said, you're going about your day, it's not something that's making you feel an extreme, I guess, emotion, I guess, in the sense of what I'm trying to say is, or do you feel that? Or do you not
it's just
feel
like,
extreme emotion?
Just going about my day, and it's just like, wow, I hope they get better. But, what's the word? Empathy? The empathy is like, yeah.
Yeah. So I know my response was different earlier in the week, but now that I thought about it throughout the week and I was making a docket, I kind of have like a different like point of perspective about it. I think we really aren't. I think this has been going on for forever. And I don't mean to sound like Dr. Umar or anything, but it's like, back in the day when we were, our people were like really like enslaved and stuff like that, or like right when we got out of slavery, it's like, I really think about like how they would feel hearing like news about like other black folks getting murdered and lynched, right? Like black folks up in the north hearing about black folks in the south getting like murdered and lynched, and how that would like, how they would go about that. Like, I know they did protests and stuff like way more than like we do, right? And I definitely do think like the scale of like stuff that's happening now in today's time is on a way higher level than what it was back then. But like, I don't know if what I'm about to say is going to sound crazy, but it's like, do you really think people up north really like, when they would hear like, oh, John or something happened to them, do you think like they would be like angry? Or you think it was like they kind of had the same reaction to us? Oh, damn, that happened. That's really, really sad. And they went about their day, right? Is to me, it's kind of like, this is something that's been carried down through generations and through generations. And it's to the point where it's like, yes, the violence that's happened now is like on a all-time high, but I don't think it's just something about our generation. I just think it's something that's been carried down through generation, if that makes sense. And then like to us, like I said, it's happening more and more occasionally. Like it's happening every day. Like somebody dies every day. An accident happens every day.
And I just say like in the older generations, the news of like trauma and the news of like unfortunate situations was spread like less quickly.
Yeah.
Like it was probably spread like more like word of mouth or newspaper versus today. Say, say a famous celebrity, gets shot.
Mhm.
Our first instinct is to go and try to find the video because we already know somebody recorded it. But that's like that's like the bad part is like we want to see, the bullet entering their body or somebody getting hit by a car. It's
like PNB.
Yeah.
That was, I remember.
Yeah, and I think I think back then during those times, like we I don't know. I think now we have a lot of activists as far as when it comes to being activists for Black people and for our culture of people. But back then we would see like large like marches from Selma and you know like stuff like that. And granted, like even for now, we do see bits and pieces of those. With Black Lives Matter and what happened to George Floyd and what happened to Breonna Taylor. Like, we've had those moments where people have, stood up and, said like, hey, nah, this is enough and this isn't right. And so I guess in a sense, kind of comparing that to now and how that kind of ties into us being desensitized, I think that it is a generational, or I guess just our generation in a sense, because I think now for our generation, we're more aware, and in that awareness, I think that our generation cares more about our own personal safety before the safety of everybody else. I think back then it was about, okay, let me make sure that my brother's straight. And and then of course in society we have those people now, that care about other people, but I think as far as where the culture of, or where the Black culture for us in a sense has come from, it's more so about the safety of ourselves and making sure that we're straight before we can worry about the safety of everybody else in a sense. And you can tell by that because in the video from when the car had hit.
Damn.
Wait, that threw me off guard so bad.
Somebody just despawned out there.
Wow.
Bro. Okay.
Damn, that's kind of messed up.
No.
We started laughing.
But
we weren't laughing about what we're talking about.
No,
somebody
somebody just screamed outside. That threw me off guard.
Exploded out there.
But what was I saying? Yeah, so crap, I had a good point and I just lost my train of thought.
She messed you up. What was out there?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, but I was saying that from our generation to now, people care more so about themselves and the safety. Okay, yeah, and then you could tell because of the video, people were laughing.
Yeah.
I was
gonna say that.
Literally, people laughing.
People were laughing, and for a moment like that, it's a serious moment because somebody is truly injured. And I think if we go back in the past during those times, that shit wouldn't have happened. Like,
they probably would have jumped you.
Yeah, like so. That's in my opinion why I think that we are kind of desensitized.
And I wasn't, basically like trying to say like there's like the amount of people that don't care in this generation is the same as the amount of people that don't care and like back then. More so, I was saying like I do think there were people that were like solely like worried about themselves, and we could get into like. We don't have to. We'll be here all day, but we can get into like the causes and effects of why like there are certain Black folks that stay to themselves and worry about themselves and stuff like that. But yeah, and I remember I said this on your show as well. I was at a party, and I was with my boy Gabe. Shout out to Gabe, and we were there chilling on the porch because it was too hot in the house, and then some people on the staircase was talking about it, and they were like, "Oh, I can't believe like da 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 da." Somebody ran over them with the car and stuff like that. He was like, "Did they find who did it?" And then some dude walks out on the porch and it's like, I don't know if he was drunk or high or whatever, but he was like, "Oh yeah, I did it. Yep, it was me. It was me." And I was like, we're just sitting there. Me and Gabe were just sitting there looking at him like, "Are you serious right now?" Like,
it's not even funny.
Yeah, and it's like I get like you're intoxicated and stuff like that. And you think it's funny, but it's like, bro, like, so we literally just left, And it was just like, when I was in a car, it made me think, I was like, what if that really was the person? Like, what if that really was, and we just don't know?
Yeah.
And like, that goes into what y'all were talking about as well, is like, kind of like the snitching culture in the Black community. And that, more than what I said last time, that I do think is something that has been carried down from generation to generation from back where we came to America. Because, you know, back then when we were slaves, it was like, oh, don't say I did this because if you tell Massa gonna get me and stuff like that. Like, stuff like that. And it's been carried down generation, but I think it's come to a point where we got to stop using like enslavement as an excuse to me, and especially with something as dumb as like snitching culture. Like, I shouldn't be able to use that as a reason why, you know, it's okay to snitch or not to snitch, and it's okay to like not, you know, if it's come to a point where it's like, you know, somebody's life is in danger, somebody's health is in danger, and you don't want to give up information because you don't want to be labeled as a snitch. It's like, what are we really doing here? So, yeah, that's all I had to really say about that. If you want to,
That was good. That was
oh
good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Moving on. Last week, if you haven't checked out last week's episode with Kai, go check that out. But not last week, 2 weeks ago, but last episode, that day, earlier that morning, Future and Metro Boomin dropped their collab album, We Don't Trust You. And then yesterday, Metro Boomin announced that they're having another collab album coming out next week. And then this morning, J. Cole just shocked the music world, just dropped an album out of nowhere called Might Delete Later. Thank you. And I listened to half the album on the way here today this morning, but the big talking point about that on Twitter, like I was up, that's another reason why I was up to like 3 a.m. last night, just scrolling on Twitter, looking at everybody's reaction to J. Cole's diss on Kendrick Lamar. My opinion, it was trash. Like, not it was trash, but J. Cole could have done better. I know J. Cole could do better. I think one of the lines was like, Kendrick Lamar fell off like The Simpsons. Are we serious right now? Like, Kendrick Lamar literally said, first person shooter, I hope they came with 3 switches. And I posted on my story, J. Cole came with a water gun. A water gun. Like, I'm literally listening. I'm like, yo, and I said this last week. This is rap is back. Like, this is what the rap game needed. Beef between like Kendrick, Drake, and Cole. Like, this motivates everybody to do better. But yeah, it's like I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I'm sorry if we got some J. Cole fans in the building, but this is why I said J. Cole is number 3 in terms of the big 3. And you could make an argument that he's not even top 3 in the game right now. Like,
top 3 as in,
like, you know, so you know how they say like the big 3 of this generation is Drake, Kendrick, Cole, right? Me personally, my rankings is Kendrick, Drake, and Cole, right? And I posted the clip on like TikTok and had some people like get upset at me. He was like, "Oh, Cole's number 3." My own uncle, he's probably watching this, was like, "How dare you? I'm gonna disown you. J. Cole is the greatest." And I'm like, bro, J. Cole can't rock with Kendrick. He can't rock with Drake. And I know Drake kind of like took the in terms of like his music, it's not the same as it was like when he dropped If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, Nothing Was the Same, Take Care. But Drake's pen is still like that. And he could still, when he wants to, can still rap for real. And so it was just really disappointing for me with Cole's like soundtrack. But I also wanted to ask you, because I do give J. Cole props for this, because he's the only one that really decided to respond. Do you feel like Drake owes a response like to Kendrick Lamar? Because I feel like, I know I'm long-winded on this, but I feel like people give Drake a lot of credit, and rightfully so, that he's battle tested and he's, you know, he's been in rap beats before with Meek Mill and Pusha T, even though I feel like Pusha T lost. But people give him a lot of credit, and so they feel like Drake doesn't really have to respond because he's done this before. But my whole thing is like, this is finally somebody that's on your level.
I was just about to say
like,
that. Yeah.
And so this is somebody that can have your same punch and weight and can punch at your height. And you were the one, Drake, that was like, with Meek Mill, I waited 4 days, nigga, where y'all at? It's been like 2 weeks, and Drake still hasn't dropped a response or anything. He's just been dropping zesty IG captions. So, like, do you think Drake owes a response?
Yeah. I think Drake should hop in this battle, honestly, in a sense. Right now, like, in my opinion, I think the rap game, in the sense, is being ran by the women right now. Like, a lot of their music is popping, and I think seeing this side of it, it's going to add some oomph for the guys, in a sense. Now, I think, as far as your opinion, as far as with J. Cole, I think it's still a little bit early on, in a sense. I'm not sure how long the album is or how many tracks he has, or if it's just an EP. But I listened to the song with Kendrick Future on Metro Boomin's album, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. Like, he went in, and so I'll probably listen to J. Cole's album after this today. But I think this is probably going to be like a back and forth thing, and I think J. Cole might need, I don't know, like, he might want to build it up. He probably don't want to hit it out so quickly. He might want to make this nigga suffer, in a sense, because like, he really came at him hard on hey, what's the name of the song?
Like that?
Like that? Yeah. So, like, Kendrick really went in on that song, and yeah. So
yeah, I agree with K1, cause I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole Might Delete later, but I did listen to the first song. I think it was Pricey with him, Gucci Mane, and it was somebody else on the track. But at the end, I think this album was already being produced before Like That even came out.
yeah.
So definitely that bar J. Cole had about the Simpsons, I think he probably added that at the last second. But like K1 said, just keep poking the bear to see how hard can it come. Because I know J. Cole's pen is top 5.
Yeah.
So I know, like, I think he just poking. And then for Drake, whatever Drake releases, his fans, his followers, Drake could have set the Simpsons bar, and it would have been
they would have
trending. They would have gassed. So with him, I think he's just waiting for Kendrick to really, 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 like, specifically say Drake, and then that's when Drake's probably gonna drop something.
I think that Drake will put out a single to kind of address it. And kind of going back to it, I really do think that he should hop into this battle, because it's big for the rap game. And like you said, like, it's making everybody better. It's making it interesting. This is real rap. This is real bars. This is, real lyricism, in a sense, So, like, I think this is going to be real.
Yeah. Drake got to get his subliminals, IG captions, IG stories, IG post out, and maybe like a feature. Say some features coming out, you probably editing it right now. Maybe put a little slight bars, like, if you got to catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My thing with and go back to the J. Cole thing. Like, J. Cole, I love J. Cole. Dreamville fan. I wish I was going to Dreamville Festival. Can't. But yeah, I rock with J. Cole. But this is why I said sit this one out. We don't need to see you versus Kendrick. I already know how to.
He could keep up with Kendrick, though.
I think so too.
He could keep up with Kendrick.
All right, I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because J. Cole's been in his soft bag era. I don't know if that's what he's choosing to do, or I don't know if that's just what he's become to. But, like, he's been giving Kendrick all this praise through the past couple of years. He literally said on, like, Heaven's EP, I don't know if y'all listen to that song, but he was like, they tried to throw the bronze at me. I look at K-Dot and Drizzy, them niggas are superstars to me. And I'm like, but aren't you supposed to, you talk at the other side of your mouth and say, like, you the best. right? Like, you're the greatest alive right now, but then you're also like admitting that you're number 3. Like, to me,
Humble.
but I don't like that.
But
and that's just me.
Wait, hold on.
I don't like that.
Okay, hold on. I kind of want to touch on something. So, what Kendrick said in like that, he said, and I might be missing a few bars, but the one thing that's kind of popping out in my head, he said, "Motherfuck the big 3. It's just me, the big me." And maybe Kendrick doesn't want to be associated in being a part of the big 3. Maybe it's no beef, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, but
he did mention the first person shooter specifically.
and he was talking, and people thought, and I found this out when I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts that they were talking about. Like, I didn't realize, like, people thought like, oh, the only thing he said to J. Cole was the first person shooter, but the rest was about Drake. Like, no, that whole verse he was talking about J. Cole for real. Like, because like I said, J. Cole always kind of like gave Kendrick his props. He was like, who's the big 3? Is it Drizzy, K-Dollars, and me on first person shooter? He also said they threw the bronze at me thing that I just said. And he also said something about Kendrick Lamar. And so Kendrick Lamar, what he said was, he said, like, when he was like, I hope the sentiments is symbolic. Like, people think Kendrick was just saying, just to be weird. Like, no, he was talking to Cole because Cole is meat riding Kendrick for the past couple of years. And so that's why he was like, I hope them sentiments is symbolic. And he was like, my temperament is bipolar. I choose violence. And then he was like, okay, let's get it up. It's time for him to prove that he's a problem, because J. Cole was always saying, like, you know, if I smoke a rapper, it's going to be legit. Or if somebody wants to come with a problem, put an M on his head, he's Luigi brother now. So y'all remember that bar?
Yeah.
Like, he's always like daring people to come after him, but nobody ever does. So that's why Kendrick was like, it's time for him to prove that he's a problem, right? And then he was like, right after that, he said, niggas clicking up, but can I be legit? No 40 water. Tell him, huh? And then that's when he gets into the first person shooter. So that whole before he mentioned the first person shooter, he was at J. Cole. So that's why I'm like, and I think J. Cole knows that. Like, and with the Drake and Future beef as well, just not to get sidetracked, but like, if you saw on like Twitter and stuff, like Drake and Future, like, people were posting like the lyrics from
you talking about
his collab
Pluto?
with 21 Savage.
Pluto, what would Pluto do?
Yeah, it's something like, people thought that was just like, him like doing a track dedicated to Future. Like, no, like, you know, rappers realize certain lines before fans do, like when they actually hear it. So that's why I was kind of like a little bit disappointed, like the J. Cole diss. And he also mentioned, like, he came at Kendrick Lamar's discography, and I know this sounds like I'm a Kendrick fan, but like,
That's what
like,
it sounded like.
That's
That's
what
what
it
it
sounded
sounded
that heavy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I get it. But like, bro, he called Kendrick Lamar's discography boring. J. Cole has no right to call anybody's music boring. I'm sorry, I like J. Cole, but you got Good Kid, Mad City, classic. To Pimp a Butterfly, he said that album was boring. To Pimp a Butterfly, I'm sorry, I make some of y'all mad. To Pimp a Butterfly is better than any J. Cole album.
All right,
ever.
Calm down.
Any J. Cole album.
Calm down.
We gotta chill on this one.
Calm down.
I'm just being for real.
I think this take's going a little left.
All right. King Kunta, These Walls. Go back and listen to The Pimp a Butterfly.
I'm taking.
I know people gonna say 2014. Oh, 2014.
Nah, I don't even think. I think J. Cole best album is For Your Eyes Only. That's what I think J. Cole best album is.
Oh no.
Nah, I was gonna say 2014. I fucking love that album.
Yeah, just listening to it. That's For Your Eyes.
I like For Your Eyes Only, but For Your Eyes Only is literally. It's a boring rap album. Like,
you think it's boring?
It's boring. Like, Folding Clothes. Like,
I just think the storytelling aspect.
No, it's a good album. I'm not calling it trash, but in terms of it being like, are there any turn up tracks? I don't care for like turn up tracks. I don't care for stuff that plays in the club. Like if it's good music, it's good music. But I just think it's kind of ironic. He's calling somebody's body of work boring. When For Your Eyes Only was literally just a whole boring, like KOD was boring. Like,
that's fair.
KOD was like,
shout out to For Your Eyes Only though.
It was good though.
Like,
I was one of the few that was like, people was criticizing For Your Eyes Only in real time. I was like, nah, this album's a really good album, right? So like, I get it, but last week I was like really, really long-winded on this. So I don't want to kind of spend too much time, but if y'all got anything more to say, like we could keep it going for.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Because we know who the real GOAT is.
That's J. Cole.
And it's to my left on the bookshelf. That's the real GOAT.
Oh, we gonna get into this. Yeah, we gonna get into that a little bit later. I don't know about GOAT though.
That's the real GOAT.
Jay-Z is my GOAT, but you know,
We're
gonna take a break from the music for a second. Come back for the album of the week segment. Let's dive into sports for a little bit. So this past weekend was a big, or not this weekend, but when was the women's?
Yeah, it was
this week, actually.
Week.
It was Monday.
Was it?
Women's was Monday.
Monday. Okay, so earlier on in the week, I don't know why I thought it was the weekend, but earlier on in the week, you know, big outing for women's basketball, women's college basketball, the largest viewership rating in history. We saw two matchups, USC and UConn, and we saw UConn win that one, and LSU and
Iowa.
I don't know. I always forget her team. The big, obviously, Caitlin Clark, she's a monster, but kind of a big trending topic amongst like Twitter and everything was Angel Reese and her press conference after, and basically Angel Reese was saying, if you haven't seen it, basically she was saying like she wants everybody to know that she's still human. She has people coming at her, sending her death threats, sending her sexualizing her, just a lot of nasty stuff, and we don't condone any of that. But what I saw somebody post was like, is Angel Reese, are people coming at Angel Reese because she's black, because she's a black woman, and she's going up against, like, let's just call it for what it is, like the media looks at Caitlin Clark as like this white hero trope, like, or are people coming at Angel Reese just because she's a trash talker and her ego is really, really big? You guys can go first, and then
I would definitely say it's really because of the black. Because if you look at it, Caitlin Clark has just as much of an ego as Angel Reese, at least on the court. They both, be talking shit. They both be, celebrating and talking and things of that nature. But Angel Reese just, she's black, so she's going to do it. Because even if you look at Aaliyah Boston was just as much of a hooper as Angel Reese was, but Aaliyah Boston didn't really, like, scream it as much as, like, with the taunting and then doing all the different social media things, or even like the stuff she does on the court. So definitely it's because she's black and she's talented and she's loud with it.
Yeah, and I say, like, even when I'm scrolling on social media and I'm reading these comments, and the only group of people that's talking about Angel Reese,
we know
it's white,
is white people, in a sense. And of course it's because she's black. And yeah, like I think she's a very confident woman. Like, she's very confident in her game and she's good at the game. That gives her the right to talk trash if she wants to, and that makes her competitive as well. And it's the same way for Caitlin Clark. Like, if you watch the games, like, she was arguing back and forth with the refs, and you can see her dad telling her to, like, stop, like, chill out. She's a very competitive person as well. But I think that as far as the avenue of how Caitlin, not Caitlin, but how Angel Reese is, and her confidence and in the things that she says, I guess, in a sense, like, I guess that side of the population don't really mess with it. And even in that, like, I think in her as a woman, because I believe it was an analyst on, I'm not sure if it's ESPN, but black guy. I can't remember his name, but he was an analyst, and he has said a quote about Angel Reese's press conference, and he was just saying that you can't, and just let me know if I'm wrong, or whenever you run this back, but he said something like, you can't be this person that's doing all this talk and then start to shy in when you
lose.
Yeah, in a sense, so, and like that went totally left for him. Like everybody came at him for that, like, you know, breaking down on a woman like that. And, you know, it's just like Andrew Reese said, I'm still human, you know? And even in me, when I play basketball, I mean, I have these competitive moments, you know, I want to talk my shit, hell, you know? So, like, you know, that's natural for just humans in general. So.
And I want to touch on that press conference after this. But I just think, you know, trash talking, that very competitive spirit that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese possess right now is very good for the women's hoop scene. Because imagine like last year, okay, say they played, but they just, you know, they didn't talk to each other at all. They didn't really, you know, talk shit to each other at all. And after the game, they just, you know, high five, went back to the locker room. This game that just passed, the anticipation will not have been as there. Like when you have like the illegal streams jumping, and you could see like the comment section in the legal streams like really excited. That's how you know like it's in a good place. So the competitive spirit and all the antics and stuff that they both bring, this is great for women's hoops.
Man, let me touch on it before you finish. I can say I'm more tuned into women's basketball than men's right now. As far as NCAA, in a sense. Like I didn't even make a men's bracket. I made a women's bracket only, which is actually like tight wild. Like,
it's
I'm
exciting.
more interested in women's basketball than men's.
And going back to the press conference, I know it's just like, yeah, of course we know she's human, and I'm pretty sure she was receiving all those, you know, the death threats, the sexualizations the whole time. But maybe it's just me, but it's just like I feel like it's a cop out when you lose. Yeah, because after she won, I'm pretty sure her DMs are flooded with, you know,
hate
rednecks with hate mails,
but she wouldn't say
death threats. But you know, if you don't say anything like, hey, y'all know I won, but this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like when you lose, and then, you know, that's, you know, the type of method you go, the route you go for the press conference. It just seems like you're just like, okay, it's like a cop out, even though the feelings are still valid. Of course, it just feels like, you know, a cop out because you lost. Yeah. Because would you have said that if y'all won?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure this wasn't the first time she was receiving that stuff since the last time she played Iowa. And like, of course, like nobody's condoning none of this stuff. Like, we're human, she's human. No player, no matter how much you know shit they talk, should ever be receiving like that stuff. And I do think it is because she's black, but I also think when you do talk trash, it puts a target on your back. But it's different than Caitlin Clark talking trash or Luka Doncic talking trash. Like, that gets labeled as passion, right?
Right.
Or Tom Brady yelling on the sidelines at his teammates, that gets labeled as passion. But, you know, one of us or, you know, Angel Reese or, you know, some other players, like, they talk trash or they yell at their teammates and stuff like that.
Flirting versus harassment.
They're a cancer, you know, they're a distraction. And some examples, like, just on how, like, when you're winning and you talk trash, it puts a label on your back, like Floyd Mayweather. Like, Floyd Mayweather, 50-0, still undefeated. People want to see you lose because you're undefeated and you talk shit. Like, even though there are people out there that want to see Floyd Mayweather lose because he's a great black boxer and they don't like seeing that. And I remember when I was a little boy, just a little backstory, I'm half Puerto Rican, so chilling with my dad's side of the family. I remember they bought the pay-per-view for Floyd and Miguel Cotto, and Floyd beat the brakes off of him. And my Puerto Rican family, let's just say they showed some of their colors that night. But I was a little boy, so, but I still understood. So that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, like 2 years ago, like John Morant, everybody and their mother, even people in our own community, wanted John Morant to lose. Like, wanted him because he was taunting and cocky and, you know, doing all this stuff.
Just like New York with Trey that year.
Sha'Carri Richardson, like, she was a great athlete, but everybody and their mother, and especially people in our own community, was wanting her to lose. And when she lost to them Jamaicans in that race, everybody was making fun of her. And what did she do? She witnessed, I guess, the emotion and the pressure of like everything coming on to her. You know, about like all the hate and stuff like that. And then now she wants to come out and say, "Oh, I'm still human." Like, basically the same thing Angel Reese is doing. Who else? Odell was somebody like with the Giants, like, you know, he was somebody that expressed a lot of emotion.
Yeah, as a black athlete, your competitiveness is on a scale.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you show too much emotion or you don't have a robotic, you know, press conference, you know, now you're looked upon as a diva or someone who's, you like you said, a target.
Yeah, and so like, and the same thing with Ja. It's like now, it's like everybody and mother now everybody's Ja Morant fans. Like, and I remember I was like, where are y'all when Ja was like doing all this and he was grittying with Dylan Brooks and is that the dude? He was like taunting LeBron and stuff. Is that Dylan Brooks? Yeah, I always get his name mixed up. And Patrick Beverly, another one. I know I'm one of those, but Patrick Beverly, even though he wasn't good, like Patrick Beverly, when he was talking KD and Westbrook and Harden, everybody was excited when he tried to taunt LeBron. And LeBron shoved him. He moved like 5 feet, and it was like, bro, we don't want to see you, you know, lose because you're black, Patrick Beverly. We just want to see you lose because you talk trash and you're trash. Like, you're talking all this trash and you're not good. Like, but the thing I feel differently about this is that with us, I think it's confidence. Like, when we show our emotions and we talk trash and stuff, like, it's confidence. Like, and I'm gonna give that same energy to Caitlin Clark and Luka and Nikola Jokic and all these other, you know, white athletes. It's just confidence, and we get held to a different standard where we kind of like need to act like we belong on that stage. Like, you know, one of my favorite podcasts, they say this, like, you know, and this is a whole different like area, but like when like actors or like artists and they get on stage, when they accept awards or like the Grammys and stuff like that, you know, we act like it's just such a honor and such a privilege for us to be at this position. But when white actors and artists do it, they act like they belong there. And they get on this stage like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here and I'm better than any of y'all. But if we were to get on there and be like, yeah, I deserve this award and I truly believe I'm the best, we get labeled as cocky and arrogant and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I think to kind of like spin off from that, and I think this is kind of weird in a sense, is even though there are moments to where, you know, we have members of the sports community, you know, break down, you know, some of these athletes, we do have these moments to where some of the athletes are extremely glorified. Like LeBron, for example. You know, I'll see a post about him. I check the comments, my glorious king, straight down, bro. And
I'm probably doing commenting one of those.
It sends me every time, and I just think like it's so weird. And like I get it, you know, LeBron is literally how much? I think overall he has like 50K points, including like USA basketball, overseas, all that stuff like that. You know, really, you know, prominent athlete within the league, and at his age, at what he's doing, you know, that's unknown.
But people also hate on LeBron too. Like, LeBron has been one to say, like, I think I'm the greatest of all time. Like, LeBron can literally go to any team and be like, yo, I got more total points in my career than all of y'all in your starting five have combined. And that's confidence. But people look at LeBron as like, oh, he's just being arrogant. He cried too much, this, that, and the third. And it's just like, it's a real shame. But I do feel like in order for us to like, and again, I go back to like the film thing as well. Like, in order for us to like truly like, I guess, step forward and like trying to like claim these areas as our own, like the war shows, media and stuff like that, we do have to act like we belong and we have to win. Sometimes you also are going to have to, you know, accept your losses. But I do think that like you got to have that like Mamba mentality. Go back to Kobe. Like, Kobe was one that talked a lot of shit, but when he lost, it was like, okay, we got to get better. Like, it wasn't no crying. I'm not trying to compare Kobe's mentality to Angel Reese, because Angel Reese, you know, everybody relates differently. Like, they take on pressure and hate and everything differently. And so I'm just saying, like, just in general, like, if you want to be that cold-blooded killer, you got to accept the stuff that comes with it as well. So,
that's a good take.
yeah, but going on, I think this has been a good episode. We have album of the week. So album of the week is a segment where I kind of just pick an album. I have only like a set amount of vinyls. I have like, for those who know, in my room I have like a wall of vinyls. So I just bring them on the set. And sometimes I might have an album of the week that I don't have a vinyl yet. So I'll put like a graphic on the screen and stuff like that. But this week's album of the week is actually I did 2 albums for album of the week, and that is Kanye West. They're both by Kanye West. Graduation and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And I know West is kind of excited, but
Huge Ye fan over here.
yeah, I'm a Ye fan as well.
Thumbnail.
I know he been really like wilding out past couple years, but Prime Ye to me has like the best discography out of any rapper ever. But why did I choose Graduation and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Because they're both about something that's really I really like that Kanye took a chance on, and they're both about fame, right? Graduation, people think it's like this college album, stuff like that. Graduation is Kanye graduating from being like the underground rapper, being under Jay-Z's wing, graduating into the superstar that he is. And I don't know if y'all remember, but we wasn't really like alive. We was like little babies back then, but I went back and did my research. Kanye was on top of the world. Like when he dropped Late Registration, and then in that, on all these tracks, he's producer for Jay-Z and everything. So Graduation marked literally the graduation of Kanye graduating into the superstar Kanye. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is literally what it says. It's about fame, how fame is beautiful, and it's something that we all want. But when you get it, you realize it's a dark, twisted fantasy. And I know Kanye dropped 808s and Heartbreak in between. He had to break up with Amber Rose and like his mother dying. So that but I really think these 2 albums, Graduation, as long as like College Dropout, Late Registration, everything like that, they're all connected. But for me, Graduation and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy are really connected. And it's kind of beautiful, but also twisted at the same time. I'm saying that a lot because Kanye and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is like warning himself about what comes with the fame. And around the time where he dropped his album, he had the stuff with Taylor Swift happen and everything like that. And basically, you see it in the songs, like Kanye is like warning himself, this fame is going to take you over. Like, and Kanye didn't listen to himself. And so that's kind of like the beautiful, but like twisted thing. So that's why for me personally, it's like my top 5 album of all time. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I'll let you go, and I'll get into like some tracks.
Yeah, and like the story of Kanye, like it's just crazy. Cause I remember I listened to this song, and I believe he said the first beat he made was for Jay-Z, H to the Izzo, and just the story of how he came up, and even listen to the Genius documentary, story of how he came up from making beats, producing, coming up to these functions, trying to get his beats out, and then him finally making the hump, and then him producing for himself, and rapping, and then dropping Graduation, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Have you actually heard like the story on like after the whole Taylor Swift joint?
Mm-hmm.
And I seen this online. After the whole Taylor Swift joint, him running up on the stage saying, "Oh, Beyonce had the best, whatever," and him kind of just, and all like the Swifties kind of coming out, and he got a lot of internet hate for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the following year he was dropping Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and he was basically like, this backstory behind it was, if the album flopped, like if it didn't do as good as it did, like if it flopped, he was gonna unalive himself. So
wow, I actually did not know that.
Really?
Yeah, and he actually has like a song. I believe it's called "Come and See Me Again" or "Won't See Me Again," or it might be "See Me Again," and it's basically him like talking about like kind of the stuff like the Unalive song basically. So yeah, luckily and thankfully the album did hit But if it flopped, we may not have Kanye West right now.
Wow.
But definitely a beautiful album, well constructed, produced, like the instrumentals, drums, everything. It was a masterpiece of an album.
Yeah, so like just the track list, and like I said, like I'm gonna take y'all through it. Like Graduation, like I said, Kanye graduating into the superstar, the megastar, Kanye West, right? Coming from under the wing of Jay-Z, that's why he has a song in this album, Big Brother, where he dedicates it to Jay-Z.
Big's brother.
Yeah.
His Big's brother.
Yeah, so it starts off with Good Morning. It's like, wake up, Mr. West. Like, you getting ready for your graduation. He was like, some dissertation, homie, this shit is basic. Welcome to your graduation. Good morning. Right? Champion is about, did you realize, like, it's literally, all this stuff is in the lyrics. Did you realize that you'll be a champion in your hometown's eyes? Yes, I did. Like, he's confident, stronger. Like, he's on top of the world. I wonder
to find
Yeah,
your
like,
dreams come true.
this is stuff that I've dreamed about, right? This is stuff that I've always wanted to happen, and now that I have it, what do I do with it?
And then on that song, he was like, I've been waiting on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Good Life, him embracing like the glitz, the glamour of fame. Talks about all the cities he goes to, stuff like that. Can't Tell Me Nothing. He gets into like kind of like a little preview to the dark twisted side. Like he talks to God and he's like, he says,
when you start off like saying, I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven.
Yeah. And then I woke up and I spent that on a necklace. Right? I told God I'll be back in a second. It's so hard not to act reckless.
Like,
wow.
Feel me?
This is why Kanye is one of the greatest. And then he has flashing lights, and he does the same thing with all of the lights, like flashing lights and all of the lights. People think, oh, he's talking about lights, traffic lights, street lights. No, he's talking about the different shining spots in fame. So, yeah, and stuff like that. And then some other tracks as well, Graduation. And then he gets into My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. First track, right? First track, Dark Fantasy, starts off. This is when you start to realize that fame is not what you really expected. First track, Nicki Minaj comes on and says, you might have think you peeped the scene. You haven't. The real one's far too mean. Like, the watered down one, the one you know was made up. Like, this fame has been around before you. It's been corrupting celebrities far beyond you came. And you think that just because you're Kanye West, you think you're going to change this? No, like, we're about to show you what this fame is really about. And so, and then it goes in the chorus. Can we get much higher? Like, I'm already on this level. I'm on this such a high level, but I want more. And the fact that I want more and that drive and that greed is going to be my downfall. And then we still see that with Kanye later. And now we look at Kanye as like people look at Kanye as a joke because, you know, just stuff like that.
And even like the cover art, like I know, like taking a look at this vinyl, you know, you see he got the crown on, but at the same time, you know, the dark twisted part of it is, you know, he's stabbed in the face and then he's decapitated. So
yeah,
so it comes with it.
He goes into Power, and the one line in Power that always sticks with me is like, hold on, let me pull it up because I don't want to butcher the lyrics because this, like, I went back, like, every time I do an album of the week, I go back and I listen to it because I don't want to, like, butcher anything. I want to make sure that I'm not, you know, but he says that, give me 1 second. I'll edit this out. Damn, where's it at? Oh, yeah. So he talks about, like, how fame is, like, it's, like, corrupted him, and, like, it's not really what he's expected, and, like, he has, like, all these, you know, creations and all these, like, childlike creativity. So he says, my childlike creativity, purity, honestly, is honestly being crowded by these grown thoughts. And then he says, so I'm taking my inner child, I'm fighting for custody with these responsibilities that they entrusted me, right? Fighting for my inner child, fighting for my creativity back. I'm being corrupted by this fame. as I look down at my diamond encrusted piece, thinking no one man should have all this power, the power of fame. Like you on cloud nine, and it's just really beautiful. All of the lights. I know the part he's talking about, like, I walk upstairs. I go upstairs. I go upstairs and find somebody, like, basically he's trying to say, like, sleeping with my wife or like something like that. She says, I got to take him to that ghetto university. People think like you're talking about Amber Rose or shit. No, like Fame is his wife, and he walks upstairs to find out some new person like Taylor Swift is catching the eye of y'all. So he's like, now I'm about to take y'all to this ghetto. What do you say? Ghetto university. He says, I'm heading home. I'm almost there. I'm on my way, heading up the stairs. To my surprise, a nigga replacing me. I had to take him to that ghetto university. Right? He talks about all of the lights, flashlights, cop lights, street lights. And then he says, like, restraining order, can't see my daughter. Her mother, brother, grandmother hate me in that order. Talking about Fame. Like, all the people that he thought was cool with him, don't mess with him no more because of what he did with, like, the Taylor Swift thing. Yeah. So, and then, I know I'm long-winded on this, but those are, like, devil in a new dress. Again, like, people get it misconstrued. Like, he's talking about, like how he can, like, imagine fame is like this, something that's appealing, but you're really just a devil in a dress. Like, that's just me. Like, I think those two albums are, like, on a creative level, just masterpieces. So that's why I know I was long-winded on this, but hopefully you stuck with me through all that. That's why I got out these two albums of the week. Make sure you go give that a listen. Take everything I, like, described to you.
Sure.
Go listen to those albums top to bottom. Like, don't just listen to, like, the popping tracks. Like, press play and just listen to top to bottom. Promise you, your whole outlook on these albums are going to be way different. So, yeah. Well, that leads us to the end of our time here. This week's episode of the Get Back Podcast. Again, I would like to thank you guys, Wes and K2.
For sure, man. Always.
Appreciate you, man. Thank
you. If you haven't checked them out before the semester is over, make sure to check out the Straight Up Talk Show with Wes and K2, airing every Wednesday, 5 p.m. 5:30 p.m. on WNAA 90.1 FM, The Voice. They do a great job. Been doing it. How long have you guys been doing it?
Since like last semester.
Last semester? Okay.
But Straight Up's been going on since sophomore year. We
okay.
started off as a podcast, and then we got inside the radio.
Okay.
About 3 years.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, so catch them before that. I don't know if you guys are planning, like, after graduation, you guys keep planning to do it after?
We got something cooking up, so
okay.
Just stay tuned.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. But like always, this concludes this week's episode of the Get Back Podcast. My name is Ashton Anthony, and we'll see you next week. Peace. All right.
That was smooth.